goodies? Thank you so much for coming back into General Grammar. My name is Mr. Goodie Grammar, and I'm here to provide you with all your English grammar needs. Let's get it started. But before we begin, make sure to hit the subscribe button and download the free guided notes in the description box below. The guided notes and episodes have matching badges to indicate each section, so you can follow along with ease. Also, during each episode, underline any text that appears in red or a bold font to identify key words and concepts. It's the shopping list that your mom always forgot to take to the grocery store. Whoa!
Honey.
Today, we just received our final shipment about sentence structures. What could it be? Oh my gosh. We'll find out after a basket breaker.
Uh-oh.
For this week's basket breaker, I'm going to go ahead and challenge you by asking you 2 questions. These are great questions to review before we get into our final topic of sentence structures. The first question of our basket breaker is, what's a compound sentence? Go ahead and pull it from your mind. Answer. A compound sentence is one sentence that joins together 2 independent clauses. And these 2 independent clauses can be joined in a variety of ways. Let's go ahead and look at this quick example. The majority of people in the 1980s used hairspray, but this has horribly damaged the atmosphere. Global warming? Thanks, Mom! As you can see from this example, we have 2 independent clauses. The majority of people in the 1980s use hairspray. And our second independent clause, this has horribly damaged the atmosphere. And these 2 independent clauses are joined together by a comma and a fanboys. But, pretty easy. And our second basket breaker question is, what's a dependent clause? I want you to go ahead and reel that back in. What is it? A dependent clause is a clause that contains both a subject and a predicate. However, it does not make complete sense on its own. A dependent clause needs to have an independent clause with it in order to form a complete sentence. The interesting thing about dependent clauses is that they usually start with subordinating conjunctions. Let's go ahead and look at some examples. Here are some examples of dependent clauses that start with subordinating conjunctions. Since he went hunting for candy, I shall have the caramel candy that I stole from Willy Wonka. This dependent clause starts with the subordinating conjunction since, and it's an incomplete thought. And finally, we have this example. Because she couldn't understand the language, starts with the subordinating conjunction because. 我有很多的功课，可是我不在乎，我只想睡觉。
What?
And now that we broke the basket, I think it's time we drink up some radioactive waste. Whoa! Delicious!
3, 2, 1.
With those concepts reviewed, that brings me back to our final shipment. What could it be? Is it my legacy? Is it my dreams? Is it my lottery ticket? Nah, something better. Compound complex sentence!
Oh my gosh!
But, what's a compound complex sentence? Great question. A compound complex sentence is composed of two independent clauses and one or more dependent clauses. In another way, think of it as adding a dependent clause to a compound sentence. In order to show you how to construct a compound complex sentence, I'm going to go ahead and break down the upcoming examples. What I'm going to do is first, I'm going to show you how to join the two independent clauses together to form a compound sentence. Afterwards, I'll show you how to attach that dependent clause to the compound sentence in order to form a compound complex sentence. Let me show you what I mean. Example. Let's say that we had these two independent clauses. The first one, my cat could rule the world. And the second one, she's too lazy. We could go ahead and combine these two independent clauses with a comma and the fanboy's but in order to get the final compound sentence, my cat could rule the world, but she is too lazy. Now, in order to build off of this compound sentence, we can go ahead and add a dependent clause in order to make this a compound complex sentence. Let me show you what I mean. We could add because she is super intelligent to the front of our compound sentence to make it even better. So we could get a final sentence of, because my cat is super intelligent, she could rule the world, but she is too lazy. In this, I have one dependent clause and two independent clauses. Therefore, I have a compound complex sentence. Amazing, right? You just took a compound sentence and whoop, threw that dependent clause on it. Example. When it's foggy, it is hard to see the road. So, I do not recommend driving. But what shall come from the fog? Creatures of the night? Once again, you're seeing that we're starting this compound complex sentence with a dependent clause when it is foggy. And we set it apart from the independent clause that follows it with a comma, much like we did for complex sentences. Then we went ahead and followed it up with another independent clause joined together by a comma and the fanboy's so. To get that final sentence, when it is foggy, it is hard to see the road. So, I do not recommend driving. Tokyo Drift, man! Whoa! Example. Even though he is herding cats in space, he still has a fear of heights. And I do not understand how he does it. Whoa, look at the Earth, kitty cub! What will we do? What will we do? How are you so calm? We're in space. She's calm because this is a compound complex sentence. It starts with a dependent clause, even though he is herding cats in space. Set off by that comma and jumping into those two independent clauses, he still has a fear of heights. And I do not understand how he does it. Neither do I. We just do it. Right? So, this is an example of a compound complex sentence. Now that you're all hydrated from that radioactive waste, I think it's time that we ask for some employee assistance.
We need some employee assistance.
For this section, I'm going to read off various compound complex sentences. Together, we'll do the following. The first thing you're going to do is underline the independent clauses in each sentence. Then you'll square the dependent clause or clauses in your notes. And finally, you're going to go ahead and circle the subordinating conjunction in each dependent clause. You've done this before. You know how to do it. And the reason why we do this is to make sure that we are able to identify the different components of a compound complex sentence. And if we could do that, then any other sentence structure is so easy. Example: since Superman started attending therapy, he seems more upbeat, and he doesn't blast random civilians with laser beams.
I said I wanted my coffee on time!
In this example, the sentence starts with the dependent clause, since Superman started attending therapy, comma. You should have put a square around that, and a circle around the subordinating conjunction, since. And it's followed by our two independent clauses. He seems more upbeat, and he doesn't blast random civilians with laser beams. Hey, pretty awesome, right? So, we have one dependent clause and two independent clauses. Therefore, we have a compound complex sentence. Whoa! Example: despite the fact that a T-Rex stole my iPhone, I still went out for the 4th of July, but I ended up chipping my teeth. These are fake. In this example, once again, we started with a dependent clause. Despite the fact that a T-Rex stole my iPhone. Set off with that comma, and then we jump into the two independent clauses. I still went out for the 4th of July, comma, but I ended up chipping my teeth. All elements of a compound sentence. And it starts with that subordinating conjunction, despite the fact that. Cool, right? I mean, not for the missing iPhone. Sorry. Example: when Ash threw a Pokeball at Jigglypuff, it immediately bounced off, and the Jigglypuff sang him to sleep and drew all over his face. In this example, not only do we have a really angry Jigglypuff, but we also have two independent clauses and a dependent clause. The dependent clause in this example is when Ash threw a Pokeball at Jigglypuff, comma. It's an incomplete thought, and it begins with the subordinating conjunction, when. Then it's followed up by two independent clauses. It immediately bounced off, and the Jigglypuff sang him to sleep and drew all over his face. Jigglypuff, Jigglypuff. C minus. Angry. Okay, I think you have compound complex sentences down pretty well. However, I think it's time to check you in the aisle. That's right. Let's do an aisle check.
Let's go!
For this week's aisle check, what I want you to do is write your own original compound complex sentence. It could be in any order and about any topic of your choice. However, it needs to have all the elements of a compound complex sentence. Remember, think of it like this: two independent clauses plus a dependent clause. You got it. And while you're doing that, let's go ahead and check out.
Can't get enough general grammar? Make sure to sign up on www.mrgoodiegrammar.com to become a grammar goodie. There, you'll receive extended episodes, guided notes, worksheets, PowerPoints, quizzes, and so much more. Also, follow us doing Wednesday live streams on Facebook, random dances on TikTok, and handing out grammar challenges on Instagram. With all these resources, you can't help but have the best time learning about English grammar. Whoa!
Holy moly! What'd you get for your answers, grammar goodies? I bet it's woo, 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 bah! Incredible! So I also want to give you my answer, just as one last example of a compound complex sentence. My example is, before your girlfriend breaks up with you, you need to buy her flowers and you must beg for her forgiveness. I'm sorry, baby. I have a dependent clause and two independent clauses, making this, a compound complex sentence. And if your sentence is incredible as well, make sure to go ahead and post that into the comments section. If it makes us laugh and it's grammatically accurate, we'll go ahead and give you a shout out in an upcoming episode. And if you struggled with this concept, don't worry about it. Remember, learning new concepts takes time and practice. And we're here to help you every step of the way. Well, grammar goodies, that's actually it for this whole entire unit. Do you feel a million times more intelligent? I know you do. Make sure to go ahead and head over to Dino's Deli for episode 22. It's a fun and engaging quiz about sentence structure. Since, guess what? You're already masters. Is your knowledge fully baked or faked? We'll find out. My name is Mr. Goodie Grammar. Thank you so much for dropping by General Grammar. And comma in anytime. I'll see ya.